the teacher guide, but you go through both books at the same time.
I think this course isn't meant to be a rigorous, detailed state study. It's an overview of U.S. geography and the culture.
Yeah.
Probably what I would recommend would be doing this course, the U.S. geography, in like grade 4 or 5 while you're doing America's story. And then as you move into world story in grade 6, picking up the world elementary geography and cultures book, then you'd have kind of 2 back-to-back geography courses that would pair really well there. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. I am joined today by Craig Froman. Craig is a best-selling author. You probably have seen his works. I just happen to have. He is the author of My Story 1 and 2, nice. He and his son. Yeah, yes. That was pretty nice. He is also the author of another one of our best-selling series, which is the Elementary Geography and Cultures. And which came, I guess these books have been around for a while. Boy, I'm kind of a mess. All right, so we've also, you've sold Passport of the World, and you authored Children's Atlas of God's World.
Yeah.
So we thought, seeing how Craig is working part-time at the press.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm sorry, Craig is actually one of the editors here at the press, and he is being worked ad exhaust. How's that? Ad nauseam? I don't know if that fits, but he is being worked very hard. So we've had tremendous sales, and it's been pretty awesome. So what we want to talk about today is something rather exciting. It's the elementary U.S. Geography and Social Studies curriculum that is scheduled to come out. It should be available next week. Let me say right at the beginning of this, what we're going to do with this one's a little different. We're actually going to put this up on the website next week. It's going to be loose leaf. It's going to have the 3-hole punch, but it's not going to be bound. Now, it's not something we're going to offer all the time. It's just something we're doing so we can get it online because so many people want to place orders. And we want to be able to get this into your hands. But the bound copies, as soon as they come in, that's what will take over from this. We can print these in-house, but we can't do them mass. And so that'll come. We'll give a little more details on that as we talk about the teacher guide. So, Craig, you finished this year.
Yeah.
You finished writing Children's Atlas of the USA and Passport of America, which makes up the course U.S. Elementary Geography and Social Studies.
That is correct. Yeah,
what inspired you to do such a thing?
Well, I know that we've been kind of looking to develop a course on America for a while, and what we came up with was the idea to mirror what we'd done for the World Cultures course. So, Children's Atlas of the USA, Passport to America would kind of mirror the other 2 books. In fact, the Passport has the stickers in the back with American flags and such. So I began trying to develop them kind of in tandem. So the 2 books I wrote at the same time so that there wouldn't be kind of duplication and such. They're both fairly unique. And probably one of the things that just inspires me about America, I'll show you some of my little things I brought for show and tell today. This is our, I don't know if you can see it very well. It's a U.S. map. I've had this forever. Back in the bicentennial, so a long time ago, I was in 5th grade. My parents bought a camper, and we started in California in this summertime. My dad was off for 6 weeks, and we traveled around the United States, down to Florida, up to New York, across Chicago, and back up to Oregon and California. And I got to see so many wonderful things. And it was the bicentennial, so there were all kinds of special events going on. I remember when we got to Valley Forge, there had been covered wagons from all 50 states. I don't know how it got there from Hawaii. I'm sure it was on a boat. But there were covered wagons that had come from all 50 states, and they gathered there at Valley Forge, and it was just, they were just some really neat things. So as I'm writing the course, I'm remembering some of the places that we went. We got, I was showing Randy this earlier, we have our little Viewmaster. I don't know if you've ever seen these. These are only in museums now. I think I actually still have a projector. And so like we went to Statue of Liberty, Mount Rushmore, Mount Vernon, Grand Canyon.
Yeah, there's a trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
You used to go into the gift shop and you'd be able to buy the Viewmaster.
Well, it's kind of nice because it's not that expensive. I was just a kid, and my brother's just a little bit older than I was, so we kind of saved our money. Yeah. That's about what we could afford. But you can still see them now. But that just inspired me about America. It's just, there's so many wonderful things to see. And I know I was talking with Randy the other day about, in the Children's Atlas of God's World, it talks about biomes and all these different areas of the world that God has created, and the different kinds of animals that live there, or plants. And as I was doing the Children's Atlas of the USA, I realized that all of those biomes are available somewhere to discover here in the U.S. Just all of them. It's amazing. There are rainforests, there's tundra, there's of course just deciduous forests, there's deserts, there's just everything to discover. And so you get a little bit of that in the book, as well as the history and things like that as well. But it's just hopefully a very informative, very fun course. And Diana, who laid these books out, is just a tremendous designer. She did a super job on bringing them together, I think. So
yeah, awesome. Okay, so this course, Elementary U.S. Geography and Cultures, is designed for grades 4 through 6. Could easily do it you could alternate. You could do the U.S. history or U.S. geography followed by world geography, or either or in upper elementary.
Right. Yes, that's right.
Let's see, world geography has been one of our best-selling curriculums since I've been here in 2015, and just the feedback is tremendous. So I'm excited about this one. Now, the entire course, the list price is $64.97. You get the 3 books with that, but for limited time only, that price is $48.07 on the website, and starting next week you should be able to order that. Which book would you like to talk about first?
Well, let's see. I kind of wrote out some notes, since I wanted to kind of highlight the different features each book has. Maybe we could start with the Children's Atlas.
Sure.
And we can.
So this would be the Children's Atlas.
I don't know if you want to just open it up to any spread of a state, and I'll kind of highlight some of the things there.
Let's go to our state,
Arkansas. That's a fun state. So starts with the preamble, which this was something that I was very very touched by. Every state preamble to their constitution, every single one of them, starts with something like this. And we have, here's Arkansas. We, the people of the state of Arkansas, grateful to Almighty God for the privilege of choosing our own form of government. And then it goes on a little bit. It's again just the preamble to each state constitution, but they all call on God, call on the Almighty. The fact that they've been blessed to become a state. I just found that incredibly impressive, and that starts each one. There's different information that you'll find between the 2 books, and I made sure that again that was distinct. So you have the state preambles, you've got the nicknames here for the state, so we're looking at the natural state. The highest points, some are not quite so high, some are quite a bit higher than others, but you've got the detailed state map with the points of interest. So if we're talking about, let's see here, President William Jefferson Clinton, birthplace, #1, and it's got it in Hope, Arkansas, you can find that on the map. So it's got those pegs just like the other Children's Atlas did. You've got state seals that are shown along with the flag, and then points of interest, from historical points of interest, and just some of them may be a special place you would visit, something like that, but try to keep it somewhat unique. And so that's the main part of the Children's Atlas. There's other information included as well, but that's sort of a synopsis of what you'll find in the atlas there.
So
and it's
every
all
state.
50 states.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And there's a spread. There's a spread for every single state. I tried to make sure when it was being developed that one state wouldn't stand out above another and have 3 pages and another state only have 1. I'm originally from California, and it wouldn't have been fair to have California have 5 pages, and now in Arkansas just had 1. Everyone has the exact same spread with very similar information.
okay, so this is the passport to America.
And in Passport, it's going to have some of the similar information. So I believe they both have like the state bird, the state flower, things like that. But the things that are going to be different, you've got the postal abbreviations, you've got the square miles of the state, you've got the state motto, you've got then a kind of an introduction like you do in the Passport to the World, where it talks about, I think that one has the state rankings by population. So that will highlight every single state. You'll be able to see where they're ranked, and that comes into play when you're doing the actual course itself. We have sheets where the student can log which state as they are ranked, as they read through them. We've got a picture of a particular food. In our case, here in Arkansas, fried dill pickles is a big thing. So there's a picture of that going to be on there. In the book itself, or the teacher guide, you're going to find a recipe for those particular foods that stand out. Here, that's something different from the Children's Atlas. You've got the flag, and then you've got the meaning behind the symbols of the flag. So those are some of the kind of the major things in this one here. One thing that I searched through a lot of atlases trying to do the research for this. One thing I did not find in any of the ones I had anyway, or find from the library and such, was they never said why a state was named what it was. So here in this introductory area, it tells the meaning behind every state name, where it came from. A lot of them are Native American terms. It tells you what they mean. It'll maybe tell a little bit of the story behind why it was called that. So there are things in here that I hope you'll find are very unique from other resources that you might have, and that makes it, to me, just really fun to be able to look at. So
Yeah, some of the interesting things about state.
one thing I forgot to mention was it'll show a picture of the state quarter. There's no mention of it on there necessarily. It shows a picture, but in the teacher guide, we've gone into detail as to the symbols that you find on that state quarter.
Okay, so in the back of this, we actually have, let's see where we have. Does this one not have it? Include the passport?
Right in the front is
there
the
we go.
passport booklet.
So in the front of this book is a passport booklet, right? And I'll let you show that. So every state a student visits, would that be it? Or a state
That's
that they
right.
study?
As they go through each state that they study, and it is done in an alphabetical order through the teacher guide, but you go through both books at the same time.
Okay.
Whereas I know in the geography and cultures for the world, you went through one book at a time, one book a semester. This time you go through, let's say in this case Arkansas, in both books. Then you'll do a worksheet, and then you'll be able to pull out the flag sticker and put it in the book as you go through the course.
Yeah, so this is neat. Now, one of the questions we get asked often is, well, I have more than one student, so how can I order extra? The answer to that is yes. We actually have, oh my goodness. We actually have extra passports and sticker sheets available on the website. I don't have it. Let's see. I don't think they made the light of this catalog, but they are available, and I know we have them in the U.S. There it is. The extra passport and stickers it's $2.99 on the website. So you can buy extra of these for each student or subsequent years.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. We got some good comments. People are excited about using it.
Oh, I'm glad.
People like your writing style.
Well, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
I appreciate
That's
it.
great.
I sure love writing. So.
That's great. Okay, so I don't make a good co-host as well as Brittany. Brittany is a much better co-host. So we have then the U.S. Geography and Social Studies Teacher Guide. Now, if you're new to Master Books, we generally call this would be a student book. Students can have this, no problem. If there's something in this like an answer key or a quiz, there's quizzes in this, anything that a teacher would have, we call it a teacher guide because teacher would be tearing out sheets and giving them to the student, however you organize your schoolroom. So I'm going to let's say, okay, so at the beginning of we have a daily schedule. You can see with the lights. And it's 5 days a week. It doesn't look like, it looks like you're covering each state about 3 days.
Yeah. Basically, it's set up, and you could always do this differently, but it's set up to be reading through the first book the one day, the next day reading through the second book, the third day doing the worksheets. So in 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, that Friday is then just an open activity day. And there's a list of all kinds of activities that you could do if you wanted to. And that's where the recipes are. That's where I think there's other information. Somebody, when I posted that we were getting this together for Master Books, and I posted this on Moms and Master Books, some people had asked for music. They wanted to know about different music styles that were maybe original to certain areas of the country. So every state I researched and found 3 or 4 different music styles that if you wanted to, you could do some additional research on for that state. And then something that we have that you might already have at home is our Awesome Science. There's a DVD series that covers a lot of the national parks and things like that. In the book, this is an optional activity. It's not something you have to have, but it will mention, let's say if you're studying Arizona, it'll say, you can take time, if you have the series, to watch the Grand Canyon video that's a part of that series. Every one of those is mentioned wherever it's significant to be mentioned in there.
So the first day, first day you would read out of one of the books, the second day read out of the other book, just kind of study it, look at it, get information. You could even do a state notebook if you wanted to, where the student could copy down interesting things. And then there's the third day would be a worksheet.
And one of the things that was mentioned on Moms and Master Books as well was they wanted to see crossword puzzles. So we made a lot of the state searches to be crossword puzzles, to be word searches, to be mixed up words as well. We tried to make a variety of things as we were putting this together so that it could be more engaging, more more fun for students. And some students do better with one way other than another. And so this way, hopefully every student will find something that they really enjoy about the way that the course is set up.
Yeah, so this one has the crossword puzzle where it asks questions. The state flower is what type of blossom. The state bird. What is the state bird? For Arkansas.
Oh, for Arkansas? Oh, goodness, I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Let's see. For Arkansas. I knew it. The mockingbird.
The mockingbird.
Do you all have mockingbirds? Because we have a new mockingbird.
Oh.
I'm listening the other day, and it sounds like there's a whole flock of birds. They can go through like 20 bird sounds in like a minute or something. and he sits up on a telephone pole outside of our bedroom window, and at 6 o'clock every morning he goes through all of the bird sounds in the encyclopedia. It's really impressive because he does them all so fast. So then when you go out on our pool deck, I have a little bit of a hot tub that I'll do a morning routine in, and he'll do somersaults. He'll do a bird routine, and you go up and do a flip and come back and do it. I've never knew what a mockingbird was.
He must really love you to just stay right there and make sure you're entertained.
Either that or I'm close to a nest and he's trying to distract me. But that's funny. I'm sorry, I digressed. Forgot we were recording. Mockingbirds are pretty interesting. So that's the state bird for Arkansas, and the apple blossom is the flower.
And it's kind of neat to see. Now that is something that I found is in a lot of the courses and such, but it's still neat to have a part of it. And then there's always a space for them to color the flag of the state, and then it allows them, if they want to draw the bird or the flower as well. There's a little room given on each state worksheet.
The name of the state means people of the wind. I saw that earlier. It's the natural state. The capital is Little Rock. What has replaced cotton? Is it rice?
Yes, that is correct.
Did you know rice is one of the top? I think we're one of the top rice producers in the country.
I believe so.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
Yeah. In fact, I guess they flood the fields. Dale Mason said, I think it was Dale Mason was telling me he has family that own property, and they flood the fields, and all the rattlesnakes migrate up towards the house. And so they have a real problem during that season because there's like Arkansas has all the worst spiders, all the worst snakes, you name it. It's like, yeah, we got it.
It's the natural state.
It is the natural state, yeah. Okay, so in this, like that's for the daily sheets, but I know like with Arkansas, that one wouldn't have a cooking house. Here, I'll let you explain a little bit to it.
Let's find. So at the end of several states, it'll hit that Friday. So every other Friday, it'll go to where you've got an activity sheet. And in the back of the book, we've got state ranking sheets. So it'll always kind of give you a reminder, only if you want to do this. But begin filling out or continue filling out your 3 state ranking sheets in the back of the book. So it's got them by size, by population, and statehood. So the dates that they became a state. So you can start filling that in as you go through all the states. Then we have these optional kind of things that you can do. In this case, because of the states that were covered, you can watch the Awesome Science DVD on Yosemite, the Dinosaur National Monument, Rocky Mountain National Park, or Mesa Verde. So you're able to do that as a separate option. We've also got these music categories. So for Arkansas, some of the music that Arkansas is known for is bluegrass and folk music, country music, gospel music, or you could pull up online or get it from your library perhaps, the state song, literally called Arkansas. So you'd have to probably look up state song of Arkansas. I'm sure there's a lot of songs called Arkansas, if I'm not mistaken. And then that's kind of that activity sheet. And then after that, it starts then with the recipes. And so you've got the fried dill pickles, it's got your ingredients list with a checkoff sheet, it's got the recipe itself, how to put everything together. And then California is avocado toast. I tried to find something a little bit interesting about the different foods if I could. So for fried dill pickles, Burnell Austin first made these popular in 1963. They sold his fried dill pickles for 15 cents at the Duchess Drive in Atkins, Arkansas.
Interesting.
So I tried to find out something interesting about each of those.
As a family, we
foods.
eat a fair amount of those now that we live here.
I really do love fried dill pickles. They really are pretty good.
Okay, so Libby says she's so old. She grew up in Arkansas when it was, the state nickname was the Land of Opportunity.
Ah.
Now you have the motto is the people rule.
Yes, that is the motto, the state motto. So there's a state nickname, there's a state motto, and some have more than one.
Yeah.
And I tried to make sure that if there were several, that they were all listed in there as well.
And and sometimes we give nicknames to states.
Our own nicknames.
Our own nicknames.
Yeah, I don't know if I've included all those in there, but I understand.
Okay, so price point. Someone has price point on the teacher guide. The teacher guide itself, the retail price is $15.99 at masterbooks.com. It's $15.99. I don't know why we priced that so low, but that is for a 200-page teacher guide.
Yeah.
That went in the catalog low.
Maybe.
Just saying, it probably will go up in the next catalog, my God. But I do, this is the Passport to America book. This book is $19.99. You can buy it at masterbooks.com for $15.99. The Children's Atlas of the World. I don't know. We're going to have to talk to Tim about pricing because this book is only $24.99. You can buy it at masterbooks.com for $19.99. These would be perfect just to have in the car. If you're taking a trip, like if you're going from New York to...
That would be fun.
Or New York to Florida, or we went from Arkansas to Arizona to the Grand Canyon. These would have just been handy to have as soon as you cross the line. New Mexico. Let's look and see what all New Mexico's about.
There's a lot of good stuff in New Mexico.
Yeah. So, let's see. Someone said, is it too easy for a 5th grader? I think this course isn't meant to be a rigorous, detailed state study. It's an overview of U.S. geography and the culture.
Yeah.
And so it's designed a little bit more the way we as adults learn. Here's some interesting tidbits. Like we just learned, if I ask, what's the state bird of Arkansas? Do you know?
The mockingbird.
Now you didn't know that. Well, you
Oh,
did.
no,
You did, but
it
you
slipped
didn't
my
have
mind.
it, right? So those are the things when we see, hey, the mockingbird, and here's a story about it, or let's talk about the mockingbird. Let's talk about the fried pickles, and let's even try a recipe. It puts us in touch with the state and the people of the state. So it's not, let's study all the state history of Arkansas, because there's a lot of depth to that. That's a state study. This is more of a geography overview course that you would have.
Yeah, it's very. I think so. I think it's very informative in the way it's set up, but also it does provide you with I believe some good resources. That once the course is done, that's what I do like about a lot of Masterbooks products. Is once the course is done, you still have these books that you can have on your shelf to pull off whenever you want to. If you're going to go on a trip next year, you'd still have these books to be able to refer to. And
probably what I would recommend would be doing this course, the U.S. Geography, in like grade 4 or 5 while you're doing America's Story.
Yeah.
Would be a perfect
I think that'd be good. That's your in-depth history.
an elective. So you're getting the history, but you're also beginning to learn the geography and a little bit about the current day culture. And then as you move into World Story in grade 6, picking up the World Elementary Geography and Cultures book, then you'd have kind of 2 back-to-back geography courses that would pair really well there.
Yeah.
Even if you're
It would
using,
work
even
well.
if you have older kids, I think you could combine those two to have a really a richer experience.
Yeah, because I think the books would work, definitely we've developed them to work well with upper elementary aged children. But I think the content is also something, as I was going through it, that adults would find interesting and engaging as well. And the imagery that was brought together for the books is just
Mm-hmm.
stunning. It's just beautiful to look at what God did all across America. And then if you go into the world to see what He's created all around the world, it's just really pretty inspiring. So.
Let's see, Carrie Bailey said, Language Lessons for Living Education has some map instruction, and then there is Map Track. Let's see, Irina, yes, Randy, that is why we like the course. If we're interested in something particular, we go down the rabbit hole. No need to stay on strict schedules. I 100% agree. Yeah. Craig's style of writing tends to be, I would say, what's the it's almost it's more, I've lost the word, but there's little keys, little tidbits of information. Like even My Story 1 and My Story 2 are not designed to be this rigorous memorize everything about government, or they're meant to be introductions to the world. And just learning about it, talking about it, discussing it, some things are going to stick, and some things it doesn't matter. And so these tend to have much more of a, here's a lot of just fun information, and from that, it gives the student an opportunity to go deeper, and families have fun talking about it and moving on.
I think that's true. I like to write in a conversational style, like I'm speaking to the students through the page, so that they hopefully feel like they're a part of the book itself, and hopefully they'll find in their state things that they really enjoy, and then as they go through other states, they'll see just how many just wonderful things there are across the country, and to see some of the rich history as well.
Yeah.
And so it's really kind of amazing to see where we've come in just a little over 200 years. So.
Now, in the last 2 months, there have been some changes in our
Yeah.
culture, and I think there's a state flag. Is it Mississippi maybe that's going to be changing?
Yes, we mentioned that in the front of the teacher guide. The state flag that was printed in the books for Mississippi has been voted basically to be changed. Now they voted to change it. In November, the people of Mississippi will then vote on what to change it to.
Okay.
So we won't obviously be able to have any kind of an update until we find out what they've changed it to. So in fact, yeah, I was looking for I looked up the state flag, and right now if you pull it up, it says there is no state flag of Mississippi.
Well,
Because once they voted that they were no longer going to use that flag, they pulled them down. And right now they just have no state flag. So then you just have to wait till the people vote. But obviously what's in here is the older state flag, and that is what would be on the pages and such until, but it is mentioned. We mentioned in the front matter that will change. As soon as we know, we'll get an update for us.
So
It is kind of interesting to see things still changing.
so quickly.
Yeah.
And we do update the books and keep things as you know, if you go to the masterbooks.com under the help desk, there's a place where if you see something in one of our books that maybe needs to have the attention of the editors, if you submit it there, Craig is one of the guys who actually goes through and has to review every submitted typo.
And we try to make sure, every reprint, we go through that to find out, is there anything that's either needs some clarity, or is there a possible error in there? We go through that every time we reprint to make sure that we bring up the books to what is, in this case, this would be just outdated material. It's not necessarily incorrect. because it was correct at the time of the printing,
Yeah.
but it will be updated then when there's a reprint for sure.
Okay. Okay, so again, next week, this course should be available. But again, it's going to be unbound copy. It'll be on paper 3-hole punched. So you'll be able to put it in a notebook or however you do. Eventually, within the next few weeks, all of them will be bound and perforated like normal. So if you'd rather have one of those copies, you can wait. There's a lot of families who are waiting to order curriculum and because they wanted to add this. And so we're making a way that we can get it out there for people to have it, and then it'll be available in the digital as well. So you could buy the digital copy of the teacher guide to complement and go along. Let's see, Kinsey, that's kind of a cool name, Kinsey. I've never seen that name. Have you seen Kinsie?
Yeah, I've not seen that spelling.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Sorry I jumped in late. Can somebody tell me when there will be available, if the curriculum pack will be available in August? You can't pre-order, but watch the website because you should see the package available. We're thinking Monday or Tuesday. Our staff right now is so swamped. We're up over 350% over last year in sales, and I don't think I've seen more 350% more staff yet. I know editorial doesn't have 350% more staff. So everybody's working pretty hard. Our Saturdays, I was actually here till 8:30 last night, but it was a little project I was working on. So yeah, so it's a fun time to be part of this.
Yeah.
So,
It really is.
well, do you have anything else, Craig, for you to talk about? Did you have some of the things that inspired you?
Well, it's almost full size. Remember, we got this at the Liberty Bell when we went to Philadelphia on our little.
I told him now an angel just got his wings. Who knows?
Of course, the little Statue of Liberty.
I've been
there.
I've been in the crown.
We didn't go up, so that must have been pretty cool, though.
It was kind of scary, but then I've never been in the arm. They had closed the arm at that time.
Oh, I think this is too much stress. I think for
Yeah,
the
I actually used to do a lot of work in New York City, and so I would fly in almost every 2 weeks, and you'd come in, around the Statue of Liberty. And I remember 9/11 when the towers went down, and just her sitting there in the smoke, and it was just very,
that was very moving. Guess I was in Missouri living there at the time, but that was something. Let's see. I don't really have much else. I got a little 3/4 hat. We
Boston?
I probably wore it in Boston because we did go to Boston, Old North Church, and
Philadelphia might have sold
Old
it.
Iron Signs. That's what I'm wondering. I know I had it when we went to Yorktown, so we went to Yorktown, and I've got a picture. I didn't bring that.
That probably,
a picture of me when it used to fit my head.
There's in Philadelphia. Is it William Penn? Do we have anybody from Pennsylvania? William Penn, who's like towering. He gets struck. Do a search. How many times a year he gets struck by lightning? Like, it's incredible how many times that man gets struck by lightning up there.
That is pretty funny. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
To see.
And he's a pretty remarkable man. See, as you get into certain things, like if you hit Pennsylvania and you find something that's interesting, take a little detour. Like, allow the rabbit trails to develop. Go study or watch a documentary on, say, William Penn or any of the things in Pennsylvania. I mean, every state has such a richness. And one of the things that I've learned moving here, like we were from Buffalo, New York, and Buffalo, New York, we had the French and Indian War and the Revolutionary War, and so we had like old Fort Niagara,
all that history.
up by Niagara Falls, old Fort Niagara. You had Fort Erie, the Native Indian reservations I had pastored on, and so all of that history is really big there. And then there's Civil War, but they it's like New England. You learn about the Revolutionary War and independence. We moved to Arkansas, and that's whole different because that really wasn't part of that history. And
No, that's true.
so Civil War is a big deal here. Like you still see flags flying from that time, and that's the history and culture. So if you're in one part of the country, you may not realize what the history is of other states.
Oh, it's true. It's very true, and it's very interesting to be able to kind of discover that, to see what's a part of the history of those states. So hopefully, I mean, that's a lot of these particular sites that are shown are historic sites. They're national parks, they're national monuments, things like that, especially in the Children's Atlas of the USA. These in particular on this right-hand side with the map.
Do you know if 9/11 was mentioned at all in the course? Caitlin asked.
I don't know that it was mentioned actually, because it isn't necessarily except for memorials and things like that. Those are sometimes mentioned. I know it's something that's discussed for sure in Angela Odell's history course that we have for America's Story.
Because this isn't really history as much as geography, so it's not.
Right, and then again, memorials. It does have some battlefields. It does have things on the civil rights movement, things like that, that are mentioned pertaining to each state's kind of sites, and which things are monuments for those particular states. But,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Good. Well, hopefully this answered some questions about the course. I appreciate you joining me. We always have fun.
It was exciting. Thank
And,
you very much for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate the Lord has given Craig a special talent to write books that are just very interesting, and they do what they do well. And these two courses, I think, are just perfect complements. They could be a standalone course as well, if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's true.
So, awesome.